Hey, hey, ho, it's me, Parkour, and welcome back to the streamer. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream, Drachwax. Welcome. Daniel-san, welcome. Hey ho, hey yo, welcome. Currently setting up my LED straps so it might not be that active. Oh, don't worry, it's fine. The chat is quiet anyways, like every time, so no worries. I kinda underestimated 5 meters. I used about 2 to 5 minutes some left. I don't know where to put them since I don't want to cut them. Like I'm currently watching with Jan Ritz and other person a film that's hella funny. Nice. But hey, the LED strip will be 6 since it's a DIY one. Ooh. My way to learn and hating C++ again. Oh, the nice hell of C++ that is somewhat like. It will be fun. Maybe Pana, if you're somewhat bigger, maybe live stream building one. It's hella fun, like from building that thing itself to programming it. Maybe as like a special, and it's not even that expensive. From literally buying everything except the power supply, it's about 160 bucks with all the tools, etc. Making our own LED stripe, what? The fuck? So anyway, let's switch over to the chat room. Hello, and Daniel-san, it won't... Me and getting bigger. It doesn't... Nah. Doesn't happen. Because nobody wants to watch a dude programming. Oh, I didn't want to switch yet. Hold on. Wanted to get in here and change the music pretty quickly. So... There we go. Okay. Yeah, I like the controllers that I can show later privately. Not today. If then tomorrow. Right, by the way guys, I got again a nice warm cup of tea and some Spezi. I don't have a sparkling water here today. Peter Casual, morning, welcome to the stream. I had Spezi 2 today, well that's nice. So, today we're gonna work a little bit on Fixed Cam again. And right now we're trying to figure out a way to copy our data from the render stuff over to our non-render stuff, non-blocking, so like it doesn't just block the render thread. So we don't have stuttering. This is for the time lapse and camera. I'm gonna try to fix that now here, some stuff, and when we then play test it, I'm gonna show you all the other stuff that happened in the meantime, okay? So we got raw data here. The problem is that it seems like textures are valid, but probably platform data is not, resulting in some issues. Though texture is that, I didn't want to use texture. I actually wanted to use our out data here. Like I have to get the out data, which is our bulk data. So no, instead of this, we're gonna say get data. And then we say out data, get type size, and then out data num. More like that. That makes a little bit more sense in our case right now, at least. Okay. So now we got here texture, which we don't need. We just need out data, render target, and file path. So, okay, I did quite some. I have applied quite some changes since the last coding stream to Fixit Cam. So quite some changes in here. So here we got rendering and depth of field render. I don't know, was that the stream where we last time where I think those two commits are from last stream. So then I worked on time-lapse cameras. So you just go somewhere, then type in fig time-lapse, create, test, and then like say 5, so every 5 seconds 1 frame, and it will create then and then we'll take from that position some screenshots, but with the capture stuff and not with the weird other stuff, and not in a weird different way. Then we have and then this was like a giant one I had done yesterday, a commit. And though I worked for it a little bit long, as you can see from the commit times, so this introduced bullet time and simulation synchronization for the renderer. So we had created the /render function and the /render thingamajig that stores the files, if you remember. And the issue was that the time was not in sync. It was not synchronous. So that means like we passed 1 frame, and then in the simulation that meant with a frame rate of 30 FPS, 20 milliseconds should have passed. But that was not the case. It was way more, like simply the amount of time that has passed between taking 2 frames, and that was not good. So I finally figured out how to do it, and that system even allowed me then to create a bullet time effect. So I have already created a nice animation for that even. So if we're gonna check this out, we're gonna go to save games. And there is Fixit. First of all, I also restructured this here a little bit. So there is now a Fixit Cam folder. And in the Fixit Cam folder, you then have the name of the animation, or actually the animation object. And in there, you have your the image output from a rendering. Okay. If you have a time-lapse camera, then it's the folder -time-lapse, and in there you have then the time-lapse. Though this time you have an ISO stamp, you have a local timestamp. Like a local date stamp, a time stamp, and then the increment for the different screenshots taken. So this essentially allows the prefix. This is like when the time. So this is the date and time when the time-lapse camera got started, and then we got here the increments. Okay, so for that we have separate folders and stuff. Okay? Guys, give me a second. Stuff a little bit up. Okay. So, by the way, the game is booting up, don't worry. So yeah, now we have some nice folder structures here. And if you go in, and I have created, like yesterday, a small little animation here, as you can see. by scrolling through, which I then rendered into a nice little animation, into a video file. And this is like using camera, rendering with bullet time effect. Okay, bullet time effect. You also have a depth of field, and yeah, and using rendering. And it looks so good. It's unbelievable. I also have now worked like yesterday on the graph editor. I'm not quite sure about that guy yet. It mostly works, though it has a few bugs that happen often, but it sometimes behaves exactly as I want to, and sometimes it doesn't. So it's a bit weird. For now, let me so like that is Fig Edit. Like if we now, for example, look at Fig Edit Test 2, then you can see the changes. So first of all, that was one of the latest things I tried out to work with the docked panel stuff. So to be able that you can do crazy stuff like that, or even as a custom window. So though we have some issues when you use that and you're closing, like if you so like, okay, if I close that now, it works just fine. But the issue is like if I have this now open on separate window and now gonna exit, this window doesn't close. That's an issue. So I have to figure out how I can fix that. But for now it's in and it will stay there. Also, as you can see, this is like the default splitting. I'm gonna have to figure out how I can change that, because I do not like that. It should be more something like that, I would say. And also the this graph editor here doesn't try to get the size. It has a fixed size essentially, and that's about it, which is not that great. If you can relate to that. So yeah, we got that. This guy here, we can drag it around. It also marks us the animation range. So like between here and here, we got the animation itself, okay? So between here and here, we got the animation. Though our actual range selection is higher. So yeah, I have to work on that a little bit. So like the range selector cannot handle that yet. So I'm gonna have to check out that to be able to fix that. So okay, back to the graph editor. If you hold Control and use the mouse wheel, you can zoom in and zoom out, as you can see. Also, as you can see, the timeline scrubber also supports the slight highlighting of the actual animation range. So like previously we were not able to like view beyond those barriers, which was not that nice. So I changed that now. Now you can actually see where the animation stops and you can go over there. That's essential, especially useful for the graph editor, because otherwise I would not be able, like using those keyframes here, interacting with those is rather tricky otherwise. So now we got that, and we can essentially scroll around. You cannot scroll here with a mouse wheel like normally. If you hold Shift, you can zoom in via the on the time axis. It points towards the cursor, so it zooms into the direction of the cursor. And holding Control allows you to change both at the same time, value axis and time axis, and holding Control allows you to zoom into the value range. So I can now, for example, zoom in here, and then slowly you can see that stuff expands, and we got with a curve here. Like that. So there are still some issues like the handles. They are not really aligned yet properly. So we got some issues regarding them. For example, though you can drag around. You can see we can drag around that dude. Just fine. That works. And you can see it also updates directly up here in the rendering. So we can drag around keyframes as we want to. We cannot create ones yet, so that's something I will have to do at some point. But for now, you can drag around those. Like that's the most problematic issue we have so far. The handles, they are not fully working. So you can see, thankfully, right now it's working. And we can just use that, so you can see it just orientates the other one. It doesn't change it in length, but it keeps it like parallel. So this is the mirrored mode. So there is like so there are multiple different types. So like there is ease in, out, linear, and step, and then there are some hidden ones. So ease means fully automatic. Okay, so if I change, for example, if I would change that dude here, put it up, and I'll say ease, you can see it updated automatically. But if I now happen to have moved that guy, you can see it still controls the other one, but not on the length. But if I now move this guy around and update it, it won't change the other one. It's recognizes that I have manipulated, that I have manually changed the value of that keyframe. Hence, it doesn't show you, oh, okay, I have to update. That doesn't happen since I set it manually. And there is also other feature which I don't state, that is that even the handles are not combined with each other, but I have no way to deactivate it right now. So that would be usually if you hold Alt or something and then drag one handle around so that they are not straight anymore. That's also possible, but not right now, as you can see. And yeah, currently the graph editor has an issue regarding the handles. The handles don't seem to work always fully. So if I grab that guy, okay. Thankfully that worked. Maybe that one worked else. Also, maybe. Also, this fit all just essentially means scale everything up so that all graphs are visible. That everything of the graphs are visible. So maybe if I grab one over here. No, it works. Wow, that's like negative presentation error. Because it just works right now, and usually it didn't. In testing it didn't, but right now it works. What the frick? Are you fucking kidding me? But yeah, look at that. So you have now full control over the graph behavior if you want to, which is now a thing. F1 remade. Kann die so ändern, die Kurven? Or is this in the what do you mean? Like this is in runtime. This is normal. Will be shipped at some point with Fixit Cam, so that anyone who creates animations with Fixit Cam can then use the graph editor here to have some better animations. Though right now there is still a very important feature missing, and that is being able to select which attributes. Like we have position X attribute, position Y, position Z, yaw, pitch and roll, field of view, aperture and focus distance. Those are different attributes. They can be grouped like all together. We also have theoretically a position and rotation group, but those are ignored. But like you should be able to select each of those. You should be able to select those, and only the selected ones should then be drawn in the graph editor, which is currently not the case for whatever reason. But that's at least the plan. So that's also very important. Without that thing, I won't ship the graph editor. But if we got that thing, then the graph editor is close to be shippable, since we just need better handles. For that, I need an image. So I just need an image for to have a good handle. I have to color the things in, so it's a little bit more explanatory. Adding some tooltips everywhere, also necessary, and changing some controls and shortcuts, or actually adding some. Like I said, we cannot, for example, change now the handle here individually so that they are not paired up. Oh, that's, for example, the issue we have right now, but I have to figure out something for that. But yeah, that's the graph editor for you. Oh, and also like scrolling into that direction, scrolling into that direction. Also, maybe have to figure out something for that, and also fix up the fit all, because the fit all also doesn't seem to work fully, since it doesn't snap to here, it snaps to over there, which actually makes sense, but we also need to like take some samples. So if I say fit all, you can see the graph goes out of view, goes back, since the fit all function only considers keyframes right now and not the values in between or even the handles. So I'm gonna have to figure out how we can do. Actually, we just need the handles, because the values never go over a handle. Like there would have to be a handle up there, so I think so we don't need to sample, we just have to look at the handles. Okay, but yeah, we just simply have to look at the cables, and we also have to change that. But that's and also, as I said, fix the, like, update the range selector up there to be able to support out of animation range viewing, because it doesn't do that right now, which is not good. But yeah, that's the graph editor for you guys. And as you can, as I already said, you can also I'm also currently working on having a better panel support, because like it would be really cool to be able to like use to like combine those here and have them as separate. So like if we're gonna put that over there, and I can also like put that guy over here. Actually, that's not that great since it's tapped. So, for example, so I could imagine something like this. Though then like on a full screen. And this here expanding down. Then you have like, then you can work like on multiple monitors at the same time. Also, what would be nice to be able to store the layout, because that's also not the case right now. But that's also something that could be possible at some point. But yeah, just to show you some ideas, which are even currently in production, you could say. So yeah, there is that. Right, can't dock that anywhere. There you go. Now gonna take that guy. Yeah, that's more what I wanted. There you go. Sounds like a lot of work to do. Well, this paneling was done today, which was not that tricky, and the graph editor also was done mostly tomorrow. So depending on how critical or how difficult the bugs to fix is, it's not that big of a deal, honestly. So it really depends on the smaller on the bugs that are appearing to fix those. But the implementation wise itself, it's not that tricky, though fixing the bugs of unexpected internal behavior of different things, that causes some trouble. As said, we currently cannot have anything in a separate window. We can drag those out, but if we close it, it doesn't close the windows. So it seems like the context doesn't get destroyed. I would call it context. So it looks like the context doesn't get destroyed, which is not ideal. And additionally, we cannot drag. We also cannot drag around the viewport, for example. That also doesn't work. If we try to do that, the game crashes, which is not ideal. Okay, closing those, I have made sure that you cannot close them, so at least that feature works. Good. Okay, now let's exit out of there. Oh, hold on. Hold on. There was one more thing I wanted to show you guys. We got some. We have this key guy here now, so they can set all keyframes at the same time to linear, for example, because that previously you had to do each attribute individually, which was not that great. Now you can. So there is that. Change the type of all the current all the keyframes at the current frame, for example. And yeah, right. So we also have the bullet time now in here, so let me move that guy a little bit out of the way. So if we go over here, you can see the train would drive, but if I activate bullet time, time essentially halted. Time essentially halted for everything, for also like for animations and stuff. So that's like as I showed you previously, like there are particle effects, those are stopped. Time also stopped. Everything is stopped right now except the camera actor. The camera actor is one of the things that normally ticks. So yeah. So there is that. Bullet time. Bullet time it is. Activatable via that thing. So like settings, settings like that is stuff that is related to, that is stored in the animation, and this editor context is globally, essentially, because it's only necessary for when you're editing things. But these are actually informations that are necessary for the animation. For example, use cinematic camera allows you to deactivate or deactivate the cinematic camera. So if we're gonna focus on something, okay? Let us focus on something pretty quickly. So that means we're gonna reduce our field of view. And so we have cinematic camera activated. Then we're gonna reduce like that guy here to 2000. Let's just make 100. You can see it's blurry. Well, except for our screens, because they are rendered differently. But like most of the stuff, blurry. Maybe over there it's not that blurry, but whatever. So most of the stuff is blurry, okay? And if we deactivate cinematic camera, it's not blurry anymore. But it renders it a little bit differently and is a bit faster than using a cinematic camera. So yeah, there is that. You can also change that now. Also, you have now tooltips explaining the different things. Amazing, I know. But hey, we finally got some tooltips. Also over here, and that explain things. And some of the tooltips, and like if a functionality has a shortcut, the tooltips also show the shortcut. You can see in the lower left corner there a J, because if you press J, you can toggle the viewport camera, or show camera path with L, and auto keyframe with K. So if I go in here, you can see J toggles the log viewport, L changes show camera path, and what was the auto keyframe? I think K. There you go. Can also toggle that around. So yeah, we also preview that stuff now, if it makes sense to show that, like here, and it also explains it. Good. So now let's exit out of there, and now we also have the time-lapse cameras. So this is with the command fig time-lapse, and then you can provide an then you can say like create. Then you create a new time lapse called test, and then we say every 5 seconds we want to make image. Bam! We created the time lapse camera at the position where I standard when I created the time lapse. So we can now move around, and we can now, for example, say fig time lapse start or stop to stop the time-lapse camera, and then we'll also provide the name, which is test in our case. And if we run that, it will then take image every 5 seconds from the view we standard at when we have created the camera, the time-lapse camera. Though right now we're currently working on that actively, and this may fail right now. So it worked previously. I mean, it worked previously. We were able to see it with that. So like that's a time lapse for you right there. So yeah, so that's essentially made by our time lapse camera. But I said the important difference here is the problem here is that every time it took an image, it was rather slow for the cameras to handle properly. It was rather framey. Every time it took image, it stuttered a little bit, which was not great. Yeah, that's a full video of that, like compiled into 30 FPS. But yeah, and we don't want that, so we make it asynchronous, and that's what we're currently working on. It's supposed to space a specific keyframe like that. It's auto-detect the angle and position of the current frame. To save a specific keyframe like that, it's auto-detect angle and position of the current... What do you mean with that? I don't really get what you mean with that. So we're gonna start that now. You can see it stutters, which is our issue. So this is like our main issue. It stutters. We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it. It's not great. Every 5 seconds it stutters a little bit. But it creates the images as we want them. But we don't want that because it takes a lot of time. It's slow. It's heckin' annoying. Okay? So yeah. Gonna have to work around that issue. Somehow. Get rid of it. Okay. Let's try a different way. How do you make camera move actually at the moment? How do you save each and every keyframe by tying or move the camera and save this info? What do you mean? I have my keyframes and everything in between is interpolated. I use a custom-made Bezier spline interpolation. And I mean, this is not related to time-lapse cameras, I guess. Yeah, but how do you save this keyframe? With I. Or you use the controls, like click on those controls. Like there is this all control, wait, hold on a second. Do I have the image somewhere? So, like those controls. Okay, those orange controls. You can just simply click on them. And then you can turn, like, you can grace or purple icons, you can click on them and then make them orange. And if they are orange, that means they have, that attribute has a keyframe at the current frame. If you move it off and it is purple, that means that means it has somewhere on that frame, somewhere in the animation for that attribute actually somewhere a keyframe, but not at the current frame. If it's dark orange, that means it has a keyframe at this exact frame, but the value from that keyframe is different from what you're currently using. So that means if you change something in here, that doesn't mean that it also reflects into the keyframe directly. So that you can, for example, move the camera around just to check something out, but if you then change the frame with the arrow keys or holding control and mouse wheel, then then it will update the camera's position based on the animation, based on the interpolation and the keyframes, and not what you have typed in. There is like active values, that's the stuff you're shown, and if you change the frame position, then the active values will be updated with the values of the animation at that new frame. But you can still change the active values independently from the animation. Do you mean type it in? No, you can just click in. You can just click in there and then fly your camera around and then hit I to save the. So like if you then hit I or click on all keyframes, then you're essentially create. So what you are then doing is you create a key. So if there is already a keyframe, you update the keyframe or you create a completely new keyframe for all attributes there are at the current frame, a keyframe with the active value of the respective attribute. God, that's an explainer, I know. But that's just simply how it is. And if you have clicked into the viewport and you don't have a cursor, there is a key that's bound. Like you can change the keybinds you're using when you have the viewport active, essentially. Then there are keybinds. Then you can use the keybinds listed in the options. So like in the game's options, there is in the keybinds section, there are a couple of keybinds meant for fixed cam, and you can change it there. And the default for getting the mouse cursor to be shown in the editor, that's G. So that means if you have opened up the editor, then you're usually directly active inside of the viewport. You can then hit G and then you get your cursor. And then you can use the cursor to interact with some stuff. And if you then click back into the viewport, you're back focusing the viewport. That means your cursor disappears, but you can then control again the camera's view directly. You don't have to do anything with the number attributes there, because that's just stupid. You use via WSD to move around. Space for moving up and Alt for moving down, though I think the moving up and moving down settings you have to, or the moving down key has own keybind. For the other stuff it uses the keybinds from the game, and yeah. So like, I can show you. So like you say create test 4, with that you have created a new animation. What you then do is you're gonna say fig edit test 4, so then you go into the editor, then you click G, or in my case it's H, because I have changed it at some point and never changed it back for whatever reason. I'm gonna adjust that stuff right now, just pretty quickly here, adjusting it a little bit, and then I click back into the viewport. I go over there, then move a little bit down. Then I can, in the lower left corner, you can see my current settings, animations of stuff, what I'm looking at, the range, current frame, blah blah blah. So I'm gonna hit I. You can see in the upper left corner everything turned orange because at the current frame for everything I have created a keyframe. So now with the mouse wheel I can go up, and if I can also do that with the arrow keys, and if I hold control and the arrow keys I go by frames of 10. Then I go to a new location. I'm still active in the camera view, I haven't changed much. Then I move to my next location, hit I again. You can see the values have changed, and as you can see, as I move around, these values are turned purple. Okay, so that means actually purple means that at the current position there is a keyframe, but the active value is different from the animation value. And as you can see, since the values have changed, we also have or the position values have changed, we also have like now a nice 3D path shown here. And so you can see I've moved the camera around, so the orange box around us is like the camera, and you can see like camera position and rotation has changed. But if I change now the active frame by 1, we update our position to the values of the animation, and now everything is orange again. So if I scroll now further, I go over there. I can then, for example, move over there and then hit I again, and everything turned orange again. But if I move, gets purple again, and as you can see, we now got an animation. It's also smoothed out like that, you can see. So we got a nice smooth curve going on here. So that if we now go through here, you can see we got a nice smooth animation and no big hooks. So what you can also do is you can like do lock viewport camera or J, then you can detach from the orange camera, and if you change now the frame, then you can see our view doesn't change, but we have a representation of the camera. And yeah, also if you you can rotate with Q and E, though with Q and E you can only rotate to that point and not further. But that's actually not true, because if you change the value directly, you can rotate even further. But we got some issues there with the movement controller. I don't have found a good solution, so you cannot do that. Like you cannot do that if you're inactive there. So if I jump out of here and say lock viewport camera, we do not do that, and then I change that, you can see I can make full rotations here, no problem. Just saying. Yeah. And yeah, with that we got the animations, and you can also like you can also switch through the different here with comma and period, for example. You can switch between the next keyframe and the previous keyframe. And if I, for example, go to that keyframe, I can then now, for example, go with attributes individually. So, for example, I can say my z-axis shall be linear. Then, like, my x-axis movement will be linear and doesn't have any interpolation weirdness. But there are also other types. So let's check out the step one, because that's probably the most interesting one. You can see in the z-axis we make a jump, but not in all the other axes, okay? Since we only said, okay, that jump happens at the x position. But if we want to, for example, we can also control the others. But if we want to say for all of the keyframes, you can now do this and then say step. It is no, okay. We found a bug, guys. Nice. So that doesn't work. So we're gonna have to work. We have to make sure that this works somehow. Okay. Well, I guess you currently have to do each thingamajig individually, like that. You can see we got that. Or Or you make it linear. Like if we're gonna make it linear, it's not cool. Like, it's not cool at all. Linear is not nice. Or, well, it can be nice, fully depending on what you do with it. So, if we change everything to linear, you can see we got a hard edge here, no smooth transition. So yeah, let's fix the cam for you. So, back to the actual issue, which is create pick time lapse, create test, pick time lapse, create. I always forget that. 5. Pick, create, no. Pick. Time lapse, start test. Fuck, it still is having struggles. Missy don't like that. I don't like that at all. Where or why does it still struggle? Like, it should be over there. So it actually does that stuff now in the render thread. It actually does that stuff in the render thread. Which I did not expect, honestly, but it does, so that's great. But something is still slow. The question is, what is slow? And yes, there is a memory leak, but that's to be expected since we usually delete it down here, but that's commented out to check why it's so freaking slow, or why we have this framing issue. Which is not great. So, I have this information from a GitHub thing. Though apparently I accidentally closed it. Oh no, there it is. C++ memory leaks, the good old stuff. Obviously. So it wants me to do following thing for whatever reason. We go back to time-lapse camera. No. Yes. Time-lapse camera, and we scroll up where we create our render target. Now our render target is initialized over there. So what we now additionally do is this. I don't know, but they say you should do that. We should do that, so I guess we're gonna do that then. The texture target is properly set. Somewhere? Hello? Actually, no, there, texture target, random target, okay. Whew. So, with that, we should have fixed that sort of stuff now. So, this by re-implementing your code for taking screenshots, importantly with the addition of not flushing our rendering pipeline. This prevents the rendering hiccups that drop the frame rate to 3 to 5 FPS. Well, it depends on when you do that. Like, we do it or every fifth second. Like, yeah, every 5th second. So it's a bit different, but it's more annoying because it's not constant laggy. It's only every 5th second and kind of laggy. This addition will come with the price of needing to handle waiting times before an image is done and copied from GPU. And that's kind of obvious. This is important to prevent reading old uninitialized buffers. Remember that render thread and game thread are asynchronous. We do this by keeping queue of render requests that we can probe for being completed. We add the following struct to our capture manager class. Wait, now I get it, okay. Whatever this is, PNG means there. The image will, by the way, that's this here. The image will be color buffer capture component. Regards to render fences feature is a neat feature of letting you put a fence into the render pipeline and check to notify past the full pipeline. Then we got a capture manager with a queue of render requests. Implement the image capturing function. This function will replace a render request on the U4 rendering pipeline, asking the data captured from our capture component to be copied in our image buffer so that we can further process it in game thread. And that's essentially what I did here so far. Over here at least. So, not over here. Not there. Not here. Not there. Not there. Not here. Not here. Not there, but here. So, you can see getting the render target, game thread. Get render target resource. Get the render target resource, pointer. They use texture render target resource, doesn't matter. Read surface context, so we create a new structure with some data. We have here our storage, so instead of their render request thingy, we're currently just trying to get it work, get it in runtime essentially. Then we create the read surface context with the same data as they do. With our size here from the render target, blah blah blah. And then we got ENG, and then we have that happens here. And then what we are doing is this here. The enq render command, scene drawn completion, read surface context, and then like try to read the surface surface data. Copy it over. And then then it essentially does its job. Okay. So, yeah. So, the issue is just, it doesn't matter. If we do that, it still takes quite some time. Though actually, can it be that I'm just stupid? No. We say capture the scene deferred. So that's a bit different. Like here, we just say do that and then it does it. And it does here some path stuff and then says the save render target as JPEG. I've tested that. That works, like, it doesn't lose the performance up here. It happens in here when we are copying the data over. Like previously we used this. This function was the slow guy, okay? So we're trying to get rid of this. And what we do is we enqueue something into the render pipeline of Unreal Engine to happen after the scene has drawn, so that we then essentially copy the scene over into our own custom buffer. So that's what's happening there, but for whatever reason it doesn't seem to work since it's still not quite performant. Or so it seems. Or so it seems at least, you know? So, yeah. Daily issues of a panna cotta, as already mentioned. Also, let's have a look at the editor. So like before, we now hit compile and stuff and figure out why our exit button doesn't work. So I try to close all areas here, and I use here the global tab manager. Though, can I create my own tab manager and put it into our editor? Or like into our editor context? That would be even better if our editor context has a tab manager. That would be amazing. So, do we have a tab manager? Tab manager. Tab manager. Can we create a tab manager? Here's a friend class, a global tab manager. Doesn't seem to exist in a way I expected it to. Oh no, actually it is. Wait, the global tab manager is just simply a tab manager? Well, that's surprising. Ah! Wait, what? What is this used for? No, seriously, what is that used for? Or what is this here used for? So we create a new tab manager with an owner tab and nomad tab spawner. Whatever a nomad tab spawner is. But there is a owner tab. So let's try to use that. So we're gonna store a shared ref. Okay. So we don't do that in the editor context. We're gonna make that in the FIC editor. So what we're gonna do is we'll go in here and then we say, yo bro, we got the tab manager here. Now you have to listen to me, bro. So with that, and now here, as new, can I say as new? Wait. So there is now global tab manager, and then create like I need a way to to get a tab manager. Tab manager. So there is new tab manager. Draw attention to tab manager. Come on. Let me do things. Tab manager. Set proxy tab manager. Get major tab from tab manager. New tab manager. Let me create a new tab manager with an owner tab. Doc tab. So we need a doc tab as owning as new as doc tab. Whatever that means. So we got a doc tab. We're gonna store that guy in a t-shirt pointer pretty quickly. T-shirt PTR as doc tab, which is main tab. Then we're gonna use assign new main tab, storing doc tab, and then we got this, and then we say tab manager is new tab manager main tab like that. But is my favorite VTuber. Hey, I did this before VTubing was popular. Russell. Like the proper known VTubing. I did this before the proper known VTubing was in. More like in the German, like for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure how it's internationally, but it seems like in Germany, like the non-face gaming YouTuber scene was actually rather large, and now a couple of them, sometime after I have done this stuff here, they switched now to also some proper VTubing stuff or similar approaches, which is rather funny because like this mainly came up in the pandemic over from Japan, so yeah. And I'm doing those streams here longer than longer than that. Give me a second. What you're working on? Fixed cam, asynchronous, scene capturing for the time-lapse cameras. Or actually, and at the same time also working on using docking layout in Slate. Like both at the same time essentially. So, yeah. Okay. New tab manager, main tab. Probably 2 shared ref, huh? Yeah. It always wants a 2 shared ref. So we got now our main tab, and now I want to set the, like... I have to set the content. Set content. What? Discorder. The freak? We got a tab layout, and like, let's say tab manager, and like restore from. And like with tab manager, and yeah, maybe that works. I don't know. So we got that now. Now let's check out a exit thingy-majig here. So instead of using that, what about tab manager? Can we close Like, if we do that. I don't really think it will work out that way, but hey. Manager... Like, there are probably... some windows, for example. Or there are some tabs we can remove. Unregister all tab spawners. What happens if I say clear or reset? Or just null pointer? Maybe inside of the destruction something happens? Oh wait, it's not allowed to be a shared ref, it has to be a PTR pointer. Now reset? Yes, I can. Nice. So... now we got some changes going in here. And we also wanted to change some stuff in the graph editor. In our graph view. Or no, what? I think it wasn't inside of the timeline. So... the timeline has done here the graph view. And as said, the graph view is kind of weird. Not doing what it's supposed to do. Kinda. I mean, we got auto fit. I mean, that's all mainly some own stuff. And we got clip to bounce always. I'm not quite sure about that. But like, we're assigning that guy. Like, that's the limit of the box. So I'm not quite sure. Like the graph view, when it renders things, if I remember right, it mainly uses the allotted geometry. So we get the allotted geometry, and when we then draw our grid, yeah, there you go. We go from y value 0 to y value allotted get local size y. So it goes all the way through all of the allotted geometry. So it's rather hard. Let's just render and see if that already helped to remove that thingy. We can adopt that, but hey. We'll never know if we don't try. So we have a couple of things to test. First of all, time-lapse camera. Do you crash or do you not crash? Or do you still bug a little bit or do you not bug? Those are some questions. And then we're gonna try out if we can figure out the utils and stuff. By the way, Russell, are you still here? I got a new microphone. Like, that's my second stream with this new microphone. This new beautiful microphone. Also, Fixit Cam now has a rendering feature, and bullet time effects. And maybe I'm working again. Maybe I will look into the replay feature again, but that's not sure yet. For now, I want to get the graph editor and the time-lapse cameras out. Not even the docking stuff, that's just small, is actually rather just an experimentation on my behalf, so that's thanks to Git, it's easy to deactivate that if we don't want that. And just discard the changes or stash them, and then we're already good to go again. At least that's the idea. Oh boy. I mean, what should there be blocking? I mean, this you could be blocking, but it is not. I have tested it. So it seems like that this here is for some reason blocking, or what is inside is so extremely slow that it seems to be blocking. Also possible. And we really have to investigate the other issues. So now game is still booting up. So fic time lapse create test 5. Fic time lapse start test. Yeah, you can see it's definitely quite chunky. Periodically, which is not good at all. But like, why? Okay, and this just straight out crashed. So let's investigate. Why did it crash and other stuff? Let's have a look into the log file. There is a isValid thing that failed. So, okay. Something is not valid and caused a crash. A shared pointer, as it seems. Okay. So, for now, I had some... Oh gosh, Unreal Engine render time, measure time. Go. Let's just check out if it is actually our function here, or if it's now outside of our function. Because that's certain because that can definitely be the case. Have to, but it can be the case, you know. So, edit the stuff. We're good to go in that regard. So yeah, and we got that. Next up is our editor. And it can't be that. But here we go, tab manager. And then we say new tab manager based from main tab as a shared ref. So that's definitely assigned since we just created it over there. But like that thing with new, so then we say new tab manager. That has this the ability to fail. That's the big question. Can it fail or not? And as we can see, update stats, it removes all and then creates here a new tab manager. So I don't think that that's the reason. Oh, and it's a ref, so it has to ensure that it returns us something. We got here tab layout, which was created up here. But we never reset it, so it should work. Let's see when is new tab manager used. Maybe we can find some examples in the engine code. Oh, there are none. Great. So it's never used. No, it is. Heh. Fuck. It creates a major tab with a tab role of major tab. And then it creates a new tab manager. And it registers on that tab manager, tab spawners, and that sort of stuff. Okay. Now, let's check the references to that guy. Maybe can it be that if we then close this major tab, that then all of the chart, all the other stuff also closes? I mean, it just does the restore here. It doesn't do much. It just exists, and that's about it. I think that could be the case. Major tab, where are you all used? I said major tab, where are you used? Oh, this is the only usage, okay. Guys, at least I have some high hopes right now, for whatever reason. So, what we're gonna do is following. So we need a tab manager, so we need a main tab, okay? So let me do, okay, so we're gonna take, okay, yeah, now slowly getting a new idea. So we're gonna put this guy up here. So we're gonna put that guy up here. And we also have this main tab dude, but we don't put it here. Instead, we're gonna put it into the header file next to our tab manager so that we can reference it from other places within our class instance, okay? So now instead of, so now we're gonna do following. We go back up to our tab manager where we have our main tab, and then there is the tab role, which we're gonna now set to something e-tab role, and then there is major tab, so you're a major tab. Note that. Understand that you're a major tab. Okay, and now we use the main tab over there in our new tab manager, and good is. Okay. Here we are then registering our stuff, and then we continue to the next. Okay. It does this here a little bit different, but that's fine. So, okay. Here we then create a new layout, and the spawners get set here to the global tag manager, which is not what we actually want. What we want is that we have a tab manager that has all the information. Tab manager, and last but not least, tab manager. Okay, now here we got all that stuff. And what I also want is I want to take the major tab, main tab. Can we close tab? Request close tab. No. Can we force close the tab? Set can close tab. Set the handler to be invoked when the user equals. Return true. And then main tab. What is flush tab? I saw something odd. Splash tab? Lol, okay. I didn't expect that. Close. Destroy. F can close. F. What do you want again? F can close tab. F can close tab. The fuck? Declare delegate. It's a... What is so funny about that? Okay, so you can... No, can you or can you not? Ah, wait. Now I get it. F tab manager. Colon. Can close tab. No? Doc tab. Okay, it's the doc tab. S doc tab. Can close tab. Create lambda. My goodness, took that long. There you go. Magico. And now down here we use tab manager. We just simply use this guy here. So tab manager and that. And we're good to go. No semicolon though. So we have fixed this now. We were not able to check the graph view, and our time-lapse camera and the FICU tools still has some execution issues, so we're gonna measure the time in between if something is in here or if it's something outside EG within the render thread. Because if it's within the render thread, it's gonna be tricky if we can do something about that. Just saying. Issues here and there, you know? Just some issues here and there. So still compiling, huh? So by the way, guys, I experimented a little bit also with my audio pipeline. So I have now the music on its own channel finally. So I have now what I say what my normal programs, games and stuff have, what music software has, and what I would get if someone would be in a Discord call or something on different tracks. So I can also control the volume of them individually or apply different effects and stuff. Which is really funny. Did that soon TM of yours have to come with pre-ordered sarcasm? Kinda? Yes? I don't, I mean, I'm not quite sure why pre-ordered, but like, the sarcasm is free of charge and included in every package? Maybe that? So the joke is that I can tell you soon TM about an ETA. And and you know what soon TM means. Soon trademark. You know what that means. I just noticed that we jumped again. Give me a second. Oh, it isn't. Oh, the soon TM. Yeah. What did you expect? It's the freaking Satisfactory community. So what did you expect? Seriously. Time lapse, create test 5. Time lapse, start test. You said no ETA. Yes. I mean, it's the same picture. Soon TM, no ETM, same. Like, you know that meme? Tell me the difference between the images. They are the same. That applies here. That rule exactly that rule applies here. Let's have a look at our debug output. Holy smokes! So it's just the rendering pipeline that is overloaded at that moment. As it seems, at least. So that means if you're gonna use the time-lapse thingy, be aware you have to have a beefy PC. Because I have no clue what else I should do. So welcome into hell. Welcome into hell. Okay, so the thing with the graph editor still didn't work. And now since we removed the clipping, yeah, stuff is all over the place. Which is not cool. The question is, do we actually stop here or have we actually more allocated? I don't know. That's the main problem here. I don't know if we have more allocated or not. I think I crashed it. I don't know how I crashed it, but I think I crashed it. It seems like we do not exit out of this. Eh? Is it okay to be confused? I hope it's okay to be confused. Because I'm heckin' confused right now. Hold on. What? Eh? There can't be no ETA if ETA equals soon to. Aren't you a programmer? Yes, I am a programmer and I don't see an issue with that. Maths. Hello? I don't know what broke, but something broke. I think we cannot do time lapse since it's just simply way too buggy. Or, well, it's not buggy. It's just that the stuff is way too slow. So let's have a look at the UE thing again. Render fence. F render command fence, render fence. 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 Begin fence. Sync to RHA and GPU. It's a fence command to the rendering command queue. Conceptually, the pending fence count is incremented to reflect the pending fence command. Once the rendering thread has executed the fence command, it decrements the pending fence count. So we got that. It's rather weird. It's really rather weird. Problem is I have no clue about render fences. I think we really have to also create that queue thing. For whatever reason. So... yeah. Okay. Let's add a subsystem. Oh, we already have a fixed subsystem. Okay. Well, that's great. So then we go in here, we say U property, then we say TQ. Can't make that. F render request. Why pointers of those though? So what we're gonna make is we're gonna use shared pointers. Or shared refs in this case. So this is render request. That's the render request queue. And then we got this thingamajig here. So we're gonna copy that. Go over here and edit as a function. But we're gonna move the implementation out of class scope. So we get a render target with which we're gonna work with. So here that thing happens. We're gonna make that a little bit different. Just a itty bitty tiny bit. We're gonna make shared. We're gonna make such a thing shared. And then we have a T shared ref. So that's the render request. That should be image. Yeah. Then we got enqueue and then begin the fence. So render request queue, then we say enqueue, and then we render request, and we take the render request, and then we take the render fence and we begin the fence, like that. Though what we're gonna do, we're gonna add something to our render request. So we're gonna say render request path equals file path. Of string path. There you go. That one has a section about save image data to disk, which does it in a task, which we don't really need. Doesn't take that much performance actually, at least as far as we can tell. So for now, it's unnecessary for us. Then we have a look at the tick function. So this is what we care about. Is it empty render request, peak render request, and then do the stuff, essentially. We put it over there. So that means we're gonna go into the tick, into the magic happens. So we're gonna check if render request queue, if it is empty. So peek the next render request from queue. F render, big render request, next request equals request render request queue peek next request. T-shirt ref we're gonna check, is it valid? Next request. If next request so actually in this case we're gonna have to use PTR. There you go. Next request, is it valid? Then we check if it is next request, render fence, this fence complete. And if that is the case, we go in and essentially do this here. We already know how we can do, how we can save stuff to file. That. In your image wrapper module. Image format. For that we need wrapper, I think. Image format. There you go. And then we have set raw. And that is our next request image. Image. Request image. It's a bit weird. Because they have the frame size hard-coded. I don't want that. So you texture render target 2D render target. Go down here, and then we got, so we say render request render target equals render target, and we're good to go. So now with the render target set to now apply to default, we can now go over here and do some other stuff. So store that. So what we can do now, this, and now we have here the file path, which is actually inside next request, where we then have a path attribute. And voila, we got that thing in. And if it is in here and everything worked out as planned, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say next request, we say render request queue pop. Okay, it seems like it lost the connection for a short second, or I don't know if it was a second, but it lost connection, but now it's connected again. The stream, I mean. Welcome back. So that thing is now running rather smoothly. I want to test something here. Oh, actually, it's in the timeline. Not over here. It's at the UI folder. So, in our graph view, I want to re-add our clipping. We just simply need the clipping. No, wait. Since we have the clipping, we know that... Okay. Maybe... do we have an age align? Yes, we do have an age align. So we're gonna do an age align fill and a width align. Vertical align with a vertical align fill. So that we fill everything. So I guess that's the issue. Ba-doo-boo, ba-doo-bop, ba-doo-bee-doo-bum. Doop-it-up, doop, 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 doop. Save, render, target as JPEG. So this is now somewhere else. So what you have to do is you take avig subsystem, system, get fix subsystem, write this, and then you can save render target as JPEG. So you need a big subsystem. It's loading. Loading. There you go. And then we can say get and get big subsystem. This. And then save render target as JPEG. And debug. So if it works, great. If it doesn't, not so great. But logically wise, it makes sense. So we should have enhanced the speed of things. Since we have indeed included. Well, Daniel-san, what is it? I nearly burned my house down. What did you do? Did you forget something in the oven? Or did you do something, or did you put your soldering iron on a desk without a holder or something? Or is it something else? $12 10 AM 10 ampere through a jumper cable. Isn't that optimal? Optional. I think you mean optimal, but yes, that's right. But I don't think that you would burn your house. That you would burn up your house with a jumper cable. I mean, it's just a jumper cable. Maybe a bit of smoke. It's smoked, yeah. I mean, let it smoke as much as it wants, but it won't, like. I ruined the joke, didn't I? Whatever. Glad nothing happened more. Glad nothing more happened. Fuck. Yeah. So, let's see if we can check out if the new tab manager works, if we have fixed our graph viewer issue, and if we have fixed our time-lapse camera. Or at least that the time-lapse camera saves files again. That would be good. Well, since this also affected the rendering pipeline of the rendering functions, we also have to check those out and make sure that it works. Just saying. Not good. Satisfactory immediately closed. Construct is for internal usage only. Please not use it. I ruined it somewhere, I guess. Subsystem. Yeah. Okay, let's make it a pointer then. So it's happy. Yeah, I hope you're happy now. right, I also forgot. In the editor, like, I don't know how I'm supposed to handle the spacing between the different things. Like, we got here the split function, but like, I want to also provide a spacing between the different things. But doesn't want to work. At least not how I wanted to. Like, there's the splitter, and then there is a size coefficient. But I have no clue what the size coefficient actually does. So what is it supposed to do? Are you fucking kidding me? It's just used for a JSON object? There's default layout. Lot of size coefficients. But like, where is it actually used? There is a get size coefficient function. Let's investigate that. Wait. Did the build just fail, or what happened? Confused. So size coefficient. Find. Set size coefficient. On slot resize, child node. I mean, I would be interested in what the default value is of the coefficient. Dynamic n-way splitter that provides the resizing functionality of the docking framework. That's a dock splitter. It's the size curve of a given child dock node. Where is the set function? Hey. Set the coefficient size. Thank you. It's so expressive, you know. Unreal stuff is so expressive. Love it. Numerator for the fraction of available space is that this dock node should occupy. There we go! Now I understand what is happening here. Wow. Oh gosh. Fucking kidding me, right? So it's like this phrasing sounds like I have to define it in here. So we got here a horizontal as like our new splitter here has like now 100% has like 1 of 2 compared with the timeline. So what I want to say is if we're gonna increase that now, that means we probably now have 3 to 1. We have a 3 to 1 ratio with 3 this stuff up here and 1 the timeline down there. So if we're gonna add now to this guy here size coefficient, now we can change how much the details panel and such should take, and then we're gonna say out. So then we can or go to the viewport. Probably is the better approach, and then we say the viewport is like 4 times larger than the details panel, for example. At least that's how it sounds like. But heck, what do I know? Assertion failed. Count bigger than 0. For what though? Huh. I mean, it would be cool to know where that issue happened. Count. Just says Unreal type. Count bigger or equal to 0. Assertion failed. Is it in pop? Probably not. Wait. Count bigger or equal to 0. Like the question is though, inside of what is it? Array. I guess the queue is the queue meant for that. Like we check, is the queue empty? Like, oh, it's not. Then you do that stuff. But if it is, then don't do that stuff. It's as simple as that. So where the frick does it fail? Is it the TQ? Or what is it? Actually, replaced render request on target. Let me I mean, we do need it. You want me to use an array instead? I mean, can also work. Number is bigger than 0. Remove at 0. I mean, I know it's not the most efficient way, but the quickest for now. Gonna hit debug, guys. We'll make a short break. We'll be right back, and then we're gonna check if it works or not. See you in a moment. I'm back again. At least. So. Doop, doop, a doop. So. Game analytics. Nobody needs game analytics. Some things are happening which it does not like at all, for whatever reason. I do not quite understand why, though. Like our camera character here understands that. And that stuff only happens on tick. So that should be fine. Same as for the time-lapse camera, only does it on capture tick. And capture tick only gets executed with start time-lapse, which is executed by a command. Then it definitely is ticking. And in our subsystem, we have this function, save render target as JPEG, which does most of the magic, but does only get called when it's ticked. So what the frick is currently going on? I do not get it. Like, seriously, huh? There it is. No, it's a... Whatever. So confusing, guys. So confusing. Why can't it just work? Did something happen? I do not quite get it. I do not quite get it yet. Doesn't seem to be that dramatic to me. So was? Why? And why can you not tell us of what it is talking about? Because I do not understand. Does it not like the render request queue or what? I'm so confused. Ah. There's the one cable and it looks so fucking sick. Ah. Maybe. But maybe it doesn't. It defo does. It defo does not. And you know why? Because I say so. I just want that I can go back in game and do things. Just simply doing things, you know? But for some reason it has to crash constantly. I don't know. It hates me, doesn't it? Dun, dun. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. I've sent the picture to you via Discord. Ah, it's very pixely, but it's looking good. The color, I mean. Ooh. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, my cam isn't the best on Linux. Unless I could get 4K. And now I'm sitting here. Waiting for it maybe to maybe work. Stuff can be easy. Stuff can but stuff can also be quite tricky, you know. What sucks all the memory, by the way? Rider for Unreal Engine has 15 gigs allocated. 15 gigs. Holy smacks. I don't get it. Let me try to start Satisfactory without Rider. Does someone know if there is in the Epic Games Launcher like a download history? I want to check if Satisfactory got updated in the meantime, and I didn't notice. Dun 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 bum. Beautiful. No, it crashed again. And this time again with the count. What is going on? Ah. What is going on here? I mean, it just suddenly broke, essentially. It just suddenly happened to break. Do you want me to do a recompile? Do you really want me to do a recompile? Because I think you want me to make a recompile. You freaking asshole. You stupid bastard. Be calm, be calm. Range won't fix stuff. But it annoys me a lot. Wait, we're gonna make him rage quit. Why don't you fix the cam in Python or Java? Because as Unreal Engine doesn't support those. Or Satisfactory in that matter. Tap, doop, deep, deep, tap, doop, deep, deep. I guess we're gonna make a recompile. I cannot think of a different solution right now. Or we try one more time, and if it still doesn't work, then we're gonna try a recompile. Just looking through all the changes, maybe you can find something that seems out of place. It looks, everything looks fine. And the weird thing is that it just plain out happens at game boot up. Like, that's the weird thing. You know? Wait, so this file actually updated about an hour ago. Do I see that right? Same as for this content. Was there an update that crashed that now stuff? And let me get the latest stuff, because we got some stuff here. But like, is this the update from there, from the 25th, or is this now an update that just released and now causes my stuff to crash? Like, that's the big question, guys. Do I have to switch over to early access, or what jams? What am I supposed to do? Like, I think we're on experimental, right? Yeah. Does someone know? Update the Satisfactory patch. So there was a patch note for 05014, which was the build number 173618. And this year's 173879. And the Satisfactory wiki has in its patch notes list here an entry for 0.5.1.2, but it's not clickable, so I don't know when that update happened, essentially. Wait, there's a patch 5.11. Over here. 5.11 is this patch. 173879. 173879. Okay. So that was 25th of the patch. So I guess So I guess that the patch the wiki doesn't list is the patch that got released today, and I didn't notice as it updated. Kinda annoying, but something that probably was the case. And that crashed now my game for me not being able to test stuff anymore. Which is not ideal. Not ideal at all. At least it would mean I can get back in. I can add back the queue instead of array, which would be cool. So I also have to, like, at some point add the icon to the handles of the graph viewer for the keyframe handles. We need there to have a nice looking texture, but I have no clue of what kind of texture, or at least what concrete texture we want. Wait. Yeah. Guys, can someone tell me if your game doesn't boot up? Weird. So it finished compilation. Hmm. Weird things. Hmm. I'm not quite sure if the issue is caused by me or by SML. Hmm. Let's check out the SML repository. Because it seems like it's actually due to the patch, because Refined Power apparently made an announcement where they said that with the latest experimental branch patch, their stuff also doesn't work. So there is that. Fucking kidding me. SML GitHub. Factory mod loader GitHub. Oh. So CI is passing. Hmm. 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 Give me a second. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, seems like we have to wait. Guys. Seems like we have to wait. Till issues are fixed. Very annoying. Very, very annoying. Okay. So, we have to wait for GitHub to run the workflow. We don't know when that will happen. To update the source so that we can then use the latest patch, because apparently it broke some stuff, causing us quite some issues here and there. So that's what we do, guys. Maybe we can figure out something else in the meantime, adding some stuff, but generally speaking, we cannot play test it anymore today. So there is that. So this is now a T2 again. And we're gonna ENG. If it is not empty, we're gonna peek. And here we are popping. What's the matter? No viable constructor. I mean, no constructor is needed. T-shirt pointer fig render request. Ah, right. Here we have to dereference since it returns a pointer. Okay, we got that now. So we got all of that stuff in. So I guess we can work a little bit on the other stuff if we are funny. So like we have implemented the new idea for the size coefficients here and there. We have also implemented here using that tab manager. We are not able to try that out yet right now, so maybe later we will see. Tab manager here, reset, close all areas, blah blah blah. Details panel, viewport, yeah. They do their thing essentially. For now at least. Okay, and then we have the question, what shall we do then? So then we have our graph view. Having some features there. Right. So we get the attributes. Attribute. I mean, an editor attribute should have a color. Okay. So we're gonna add one. F linear color, which is editor color. F linear color, editor color. So we got editor color now. So if we go over to our editor context, I think it was. Here we got all the editor attributes. There they are. We have to define some colors. So we provide linear. We then provide linear color, or just F color from hex. So this is position X. So this is red, green, blue, or so you can say red, F color, green, F color, blue, F color, red, F color, green, and F color, blue. And then we got field of view, F color, yellow, aperture, F color, orange, focus distance, purple, if there is a purple. So now let's have a look into create. Oh wait, that's this kind of attribute. T attribute. Oh. Big float attribute. What? Okay. So do you want me to do this then? Again here, then we got this guy. That has the on value changed. Linear color. Editor color or graph color. Right, let's call it graph color. Graph color. F linear color graph color graph color graph color graph color, like that. Now we got the graph view. And now instead of using this tint here, we're gonna use attribute graph color. Magical. So without further ado, let's head over here. No. This JPEG, no. Editor. Editor context. There I wanted to. It's not a member of initialized. It's not a member of initialized class. Yeah, that's not what I want. Yeah. I mean, position, I want to, like, position X is T attribute, which is being initialized here, right? Is a comma too much, or is it that? Oh god. There you go, it suddenly is happy with everything, okay. Well, fine. Annoying bastard. So, red, green, blue, yellow, orange, purple. So, we got red, green, blue, yellow, orange, purple. So what I want to do now is something else. Okay, so now we have in the graph colors. Apparently. Next up, let's go to the editor. No, to the details. Because here we have then some stuff like this, all keyframes. So I want to grab that. Well, actually, I want to grab this here. So I grab that. And now we got position. And then we have like for each thing its own position guy. But we're gonna change that now a little bit up, okay? Actually, I'm not quite sure how. Okay, let me do something rather weird, which is this. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do that. Okay, double pointing over here. So, and then we have, instead of all, we use position. So I'm gonna copy that now and use it also for the rotations. We got the rotation in like that. Paste that stuff in. Use rot rod here, and then we got the current frame there. So we don't have a rod, apparently. Or do we have a rod? Don't think we have a rod, so... Let's see if we can have a rod. We have just position. Okay, let's add a rod. I want a rod. Edit a context. And then let's go rod. Yaw. Pitch. Just then rod pitch. Yaw. Rod yaw. And then we have roll. And rod roll. Like that. Very, very nice. Okay, now we got a rod group. So the rod group, we got that. Hooray. So, now let me add some other quality of life features here and there, sprinkled around. Next quality of life feature I want to do is within the drag drop. In here I handle all the different stuff in regards to drag and drop, bring around, mainly in the graph view, like dragging around a keyframe, dragging around a keyframe handle, dragging around the graph itself, stuff like that. That's handled in here. And what I want to check out is the drag and drop for, you know, actually we also have a base class here, which is the FFIC graph drag drop, and that essentially uses the cursor positions and stuff in relation to the graph view to then calculate the difference in graph drag and drop on the graph view essentially. So what I mean with that is that it calculates automatically difference of value and time and frames when you drag around, because I have to do some maths there, especially in regards to the frame stuff, and this guy essentially is capable of handling all that. And then we have the subclasses that then have the different kinds of implementation regarding what happens when you drag a handle around or whatever, how to get the data to where it needs to be. And in here I want to add a feature that if you hold control when you're dragging, that you are snapping essentially to the value does not change and you stay at the old value, so that you can then, for example, say, okay, I'm just dragging around the time, a keyframe in time, so that this is more easy to do, because that's like one of the things you probably want to do often. Also, like maybe being able to drag around just in the value, that's also probably something that would be really cool, because it looks rather similar. So how can we do that? First of all, when we create a drag drop, I want to store the original position essentially. So I go in here, say int64, and then timeline start and float value start. So that's the original position when the drag drop started. So there is probably a function for this. Virtual void. Yeah, virtual void. I don't know if there is a function, but I think there is. Okay, let's just check out the drag drop operation. Maybe we have something directly in here. On drop, on dragged cursor query. Set decorated visibility. Set cursor override. There is not? That's kind of sad. That's really sad. Hmm. So we get a graph view. Please give me a F mouse. F slate mouse. Cursor. I want the event. Cursor event. F mouse event. And that is a fucking pointer event. Thanks. Pointer event. Init event. So why do I want that? Well, I can go in here now. And I can say... so I go in here. I don't store it. I just want its existence. Init event. Because then I can go in here and then say start. Then I can say timeline start equals graph view is then I have like timeline start graph view, and then I say local to frame, and then I say init event. I cannot, and like, can just get the screen space position right now. So, f vector local position. That's a bit more tricky then, and I need also the geometry then, you know. Or actually, no, I don't. I can get last, get cache geometry, like that. And so I get the cache geometry, and then I can say like absolute to local, and then provide init event get screen space position. Magic like that, essentially. And then we get out of there a vector 2D. And with this vector 2D, we can pass this in here. So local position, X gets into we convert that to some frames and store that in timeline start. And then we also have the value start, which is graph view, local to frame, local to value, and then you provide local position Y. And now we have the initialization values for those. And now we can go in here and we say on dragged on our drag drop event. So there is this cumulative delta thing. So we got the cursor delta here essentially. This cursor delta, cumulative delta, is a little bit tricky, honestly. Yeah, I have to think right now, guys. Sorry. The problem is the graph drag. If you drag the graph and you hold control, then you're dragging the graph around. That actually change. Yeah, you're then dragging it around. Yeah, okay, I guess we just do it that way. It's the simple approach. But it's not the best approach, but the simple approach, so it kind of works. So we just say, is control down? Is that the case? Then our cursor delta will be in cursor delta y will be nothing. So we do not change that. And if our drag drop event is shift down, then our cursor delta x will be 0. Okay, something like that. So next up is so now this just affects the changes, so no changes are happening, but we don't update the value yet. So maybe that will be maybe that is interesting. So how can we do that? So that's delta. How can we do that? I don't want it in the graph pin drag drop. I wanted it just in the keyframe drag drop, and in the keyframe handle drag drop. So how can we do that? So what the idea is, before we update, so we say here move the keyframe and set the value. So we have a value div and a timeline div, okay? And for that we have two things. So we have a new value, which will be calculated from this here, which is new value, like that. And we have a new frame, which is that. So what the thing is now, we say, okay, if the control, so if our drag drop event is control down, so if we are holding control, then the value won't change. So that means our new value will be our start value. Okay. Actually, hold on. That means I should... Is this... No, that is public. So value start, not start value. Value start. Okay. And the same thing over here, but this time for shift. And the frame. So then we have new frame equals frame start, or timeline start in that case. And that should mean it snaps to where it's supposed to be. I don't think we need that for the handle, do we? Nah. We don't need it over here. But we got it for the keyframe. At least we got it for the keyframe. And we still have like the delta functionality, so there's also that. Good. So that guy complains here a little bit because some stuff is missing, which makes sense, you know. So let's head back over there because it cares about the pointer event, the init event. So give me an init event so that I can pass it down. Init event. Init event. And you get the init event. And same for you, body. You also get that init event, so you can pass it down. Like that. And voila. A new small feature is in. Next up is I want to make the console commands a little bit more explicit, a little bit more verbose with some better messages. So let's check out where our commands are. There you are. So when we're just returning, not good. I want to have messages everywhere. Okay, so for example, okay, so we got edit, set active animation, we just select nothing and it's completed. Not good. So instead, sender, we say send chat message, animation, plus arguments, plus, so animation opened, not found, in this case at least. And here we say opened for edit. Found animation, set active animation, found animation, good. Then we have animation not found, playing animation, render not found, rendering animation. And now here we go with our time lapse. Oh, okay, so if we just provide time lapse, it will then list all the different time lapses. I don't like that. Honestly, let's change that to use that thing here. So that means we say else if arguments list. There you go. And then we say sender, send chat message, f string, text, list of time lapse cameras. That. And then we are done. So if we have this here, I mean, or whatever. Sender, send chat message, text, syntax, pick, time lapse, create, name, seconds per frame. There you go. Already exists. Created. Completed. All options. Delete. Gonna add a new response to actually provide syntax and stuff. So this here, let's make it F color red. Syntax, fig, timeline, time lapse, delete, name. Then we got time lapse camera, doesn't exist. Time lapse camera deleted. Good. Next up is start. We're gonna provide pick time lapse, start, and we're good to go. And then we got doesn't exist and started. Next up is the stop function, which wants some syntax. Stop. And then we say else. Then we say no valid subcommand, and then we provide all the syntax. So we got stop, we got start, we got delete, and we got create. There you go. And that's else that. So then we got time lapse. So that's this. Okay, I actually got an idea. We're gonna this here, that, and then we do this here. Ta-da! That means as long as we were not able to do that, we just go in here with this. So now we got that. Let's check out the others. Here we also just have bad arguments, so that doesn't really tell us anything, you know. So we say you have a render command. You're gonna have to answer with a syntax response. Syntax render name. That's how you have to respond. Same for over here. This is play. And this is edit. And this is delete. Ta-da! And now we also need create. Like that. Now we also have list over there. And now and here we say list of animations. Though this here is in default green, so because everything worked out. So list of animations. And then we got here list of time-lapse cameras. And now we got this here. Okay. And now if we have reached the very bottom of everything, let's add syntax for let's print the syntax for every single one of them. So I mean, we got create, for example. We also have list. The list has nothing. List. Then we have delete. So we have delete, start. Wait, that's the wrong delete. Quick render. So we have create, delete, edit, play und render. Quick create name. Delete, play, edit. And here we have additionally list. Now we're gonna copy all of that here over. And then we say no valid subcommand subcommand no valid subcommand and then we say we just simply print those like just plain. Like very plain like that. And with that, we can do some stuff. So, now we got those. Next. So, it would be cool if we can show an icon on the drag and drop of key of some stuff in the graph editor. So we have here this drag drop, and I don't care about the handle, but about the keyframe. So when we are doing the keyframe drag drop, I want to do some magic, and we can do some magic. That's not the issue. Let's head over there. So there is affected by pointer event. Checks if this drag and drop operation is affected by a given pointer event. No. On drop, on drag, cursor query. There. Default decorator and get decorator position. It's the widget that will serve as a decorator unless overridden. If you do not override, you will have a node decorator. Yeah, we are aware. But mostly, currently for the stuff we are doing, we mostly don't want one. But here we actually want one. So let me take that. And let me create one. So we go over to our drag drop, and then we got here the keyframe drag. So what we're gonna do is we go in here, put that down, say override, and now we're gonna create a definition for it. So what we're gonna do in here is we try to create a small little similar thing to a tooltip essentially. So we're gonna return as new as tooltip, and we're gonna have some text in it. So what the text is, you will see in a second. Tooltop, yes. Tooltip. Okay. So and now we're gonna add a text lambda. So that guy returns now ftext from a string, and that string is created with a printf thingamajig, and it will consist of % of frame I \n value %d or f. No, let's use f, and then we have this. So now we can go in here and say keyframe keyframe control get frame and keyframe control get value. Doesn't work, but you will see in a second. And then we provide this. It's that. So okay, we got get value here, which is not the case. So instead, what we're gonna do is go in here and then say get attribute, get value as float, and then we say keyframe control get frame. I probably have to change that to LLD. Okay, LLD then. And voila, we should have a small little tooltip icon that should appear when we are dragging that stuff around. That shows us some general information here. Small, very tiny feature, though probably still quite useful, I think. Then we're gonna say \n shift is fixed frame and control is fixed value. Just that it also shows, oh, you can do that. Yeah. So now we got that. Like here and there, quality of life features. That's what you're essentially doing here right now. Okay. So if we go to our editor attribute, so now I want to change some behaviors of the keyframe control, which I do not like. So we have, for example, in our keyframe control, a mouse button down, up, and double click. And this double click is a bit worrisome. So we iterate over all keyframes and remove all keyframes when we have a double click. So it doesn't matter which mouse button, if we have a double click, we're gonna remove all the keyframes. Okay. So if we have now a mouse button up though, and it's a left mouse button, we set the keyframe again. So the issue is that after double click, when we have handled that, our mouse button up still happens, which is not ideal. So the question for us is now, what shall we do? Those are issues, guys. Hui. Sorry. I'm not quite sure how to resolve that though. I mean, we do not want to do this stuff, that stuff here. Oh, okay, and by the way, this here. From handle has to be invalid to be able to do that, because get frame is a bit tricky in that case, I would say. Alright, it crashes the system if you do that. That's why. Ha! Forgot about that. Well, this should hopefully catch that issue. But yeah, the issue is still with the double click. I mean, here we got the same issue though. Well, whatever. But for now, I need to prevent this from happening when that just happened. I mean, you cannot check if event double click or something, or... Ah, I think I got it. Got an idea at least. So we're gonna add here bool b was double click, and we say that is false. And we go over to keyframe control, and then we say and b was double click. So if that was false, only then that's also allowed. Okay, so B was double click, and B was double click will be reset over there. So when we're pressing, then double click sets to false. But if it is, if it was double click, then we're gonna set that over here to true, and that should fix that issue that if you're doing double click on a keyframe, that automatically sets a new keyframe for that specific frame, which is weird. So hopefully that is fixed now. By the way, also over here we're gonna have to pass the mouse event like that. Okie dokie. And then there's still one more issue, but we will end the stream now, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. I enjoyed it. We did a lot. We did quite some progress, but not enough. Especially not since we got then the issue that we were able to not playtest stuff anymore since the game patched with something that crashes mods. Well, yeah, that happened. Anyway, so what has happened for Fixicam is, well, that stuff to be fixed. So like the new docked layout stuff, checking that the time-lapse cameras work again, checking that rendering works, if rendering still works, then ensuring that the polishing up the graph editor. These features we have just added, checking those if they work properly, and maybe fix bugs if there are some. And then some other issues I'm also aware of that I want to fix before I'm gonna release that stuff. And that are two issues, and that is the first, that we still have that the sensor size for the cameras and the editor and stuff, that this is not coherent, causing some issues in regards to depth of field. So we're gonna have to figure out how we can work a little bit with the camera sizes and so on. So yep. And then maybe resolution. Also, we need a setting for frames, for you to be able to set the frames per second. The resolution, well, that's in combination with the sensor stuff, so I have to figure out, I have to think of a system for that. Then also that the time-lapse cameras use the settings of an animation with the same name, with the camera settings at frame 0 of that animation. Maybe. But that was an idea I had for long, so maybe I will add that at some point. But also very important that the group attributes can be used for switching keyframes, because that's currently not the case, which is not that great. So I have to figure out how to do that. That you can use the group attributes in combination with the keyframe controls to switch the keyframe state, so they can, for example, set all keyframes of all attributes to linear or whatever, or create or remove them, because that's currently not the case, and it would be cool if we are able to do so. So yeah, gonna have to figure out a way for that, to be able to do that. So yeah, there is that. So then the question, as usual, is who we gonna raid? And the answer to that is nobody, as it seems. Twitch TV. Let's see. Satisfactory players. Who was playing some Satisfactory? I don't know. Yeah, I guess we're gonna raid nobody today. So guys, then I would say thank you so much for watching. I was Panaconer from Cody D. By the way, next stream hopefully is on Thursday. We will see. So for now, I was Panaconer from Cody from Mesobots, and say bye bye until next time. And as always, keep coding!